I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, no, I've done it the wrong way around. So I've gone an hour over and I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his arse.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona...
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to another ramble from the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Craig Savage, and with me as always is Charlie Betts and Daniel Cody.
So, following lots of pressure from other colleagues and from friends and a few other listeners that we've got, we've now caught up with the times because you were all fed up that you couldn't close your phone because you were listening to us on YouTube and all of that, and we finally got onto other podcast platforms.
Where are we on now, Charlie?
So we are now on the main one, the main headline one, where you can find us is Spotify. We're also on a website called Anchor. I've got to be honest, I don't know half of these ones, but hopefully if you have any of them, just listen to us on them. We're also on Google Podcasts, which I didn't even know existed till about yesterday. We are on Breaker, and finally Radio Public, which sounds a bit like a pirate radio station, but apparently it's a... But more importantly, we're on a podcast platform, so you can now tweet, text, do whatever you normally do on your phone, and listen to us while you're on the tube or something like that.
Absolutely fantastic. But we will get a camera as well, so people
we are
on
planning
YouTube,
to get a camera.
We are planning to get a camera so you can see us.
We haven't forgotten about the people of YouTube and that.
And we might have some other special content rather than just the podcast as well.
How's your week been, guys? Football related, obviously. Daniel, you went to watch Luton versus Blackburn at Ewood Park.
My first trip to Ewood Park. What a pleasant surprise.
Go on.
Let's leave the football for a minute. Obviously, let's rate the ground. I'm in the process of going through the 92. And that took me past the 1/3 mark, which was a lovely
okay, interesting.
And obviously, hopefully, we'll be ticking another one off tomorrow. But most importantly for me was it's one of those old school grounds. There's some really great ideas outside. Only one problem that I have on the day, which we'll come to during the game, but a brilliant stadium, fantastic. It's one of those, I guess it's modern enough that you can still walk round, so it's got a concourse as such, even though it's ground level. But they had a fan zone behind one of the goals.
Right.
Massive TV showing the early kick-off. It was fantastic. Okay. And both sets of fans together, couple of licensed bars. Just outside the ground, behind one of the stands, attached to the back of one of the stands, a massive projector TV screen.
That's cool.
And it just let all the fans mingle together. It took away any animosity. Most of the fans were having a chat before the game. It was a fantastic day out. Blackburn was a decent enough place. Bit of a trek to the ground, but you know, these things happen.
Did you have any food in the ground?
Oh well, that's one of the negatives, unfortunately.
Oh no!
Is I got to the food stalls 25 minutes before the kickoff, and they'd already sold out of chicken balti pies. Can you believe it?
Oh, chicken balti pies as well. Oh, for goodness sake.
I queued up at one stall for 10 minutes, so I still made the trip and got a drink and a dairy milk. Walked down to the other end, and they've sold out of balti pies as well. So I wasn't.
Out of interest, what was the cost of a balti pie?
About $2.60, I think.
Oh, it's not too bad.
It's cheaper up north.
By football standards,
Generally
it is, to be fair.
Generally it's cheaper.
And by football standards, it's not too bad. The prices there, not bad at all.
And then on the pitch, Blackburn a decent side or not really?
Good football inside. Luton probably a little bit out of character, playing that defensive scrappy style, taking a bit of time, but got the 3 points, which was all that matters, and then obviously followed it up with another one in midweek.
Anyway, you think you've got to do what you've got to do to get points in the day.
But
I was quite disappointed. I'm gonna be disappointed with Blackburn itself. I want to see away fans obviously nearer to the pitch, so you can see like limbs.
Yeah, that's a sticking point for some games, isn't it?
Obviously, looking at.
Because they were put in the top tier.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But
it makes the lower tier look bad.
But we've had that a lot this season, like at Cardiff and places like that. The reason for it is obviously so the away fans aren't as present as the players on the pitch. It makes it less of an atmosphere.
I can understand from a home team point of view, but from a neutral point of view, looking on
absolutely,
on
love
it
to
looks
see
horrendous. It looks really bad.
Forgive me, I'm sure at one point, maybe a year or two ago, they were talking about. You know, because I think famously Newcastle have you. I think
it was a Premier League rule.
Your fans, if you're an away fan, you're up in the gods.
Yeah.
At one point, they were talking about putting a rule where you got to have them in a certain area or
a certain distance.
That was going to be Premier League only.
Yeah, I think you
got. I don't know if they've done that though, have they?
No idea. Don't go to Premier League.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to think Premier League wise. I think. It's only Newcastle. It's only top tier now.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
From what I can,
I don't know. I can see sort of both.
But there was one negative. The ground, fantastic. Everything about the day was good.
Premier League ground there is.
But the big problem was about 5 minutes into the game, The bloody drum started, didn't it?
Oh, you don't know.
The worst thing you can have in a football ground is a bloody drum, and it was going off.
I think the game that we're going to tomorrow will have a drum.
Well, we'll report on that next week, but it was the only slight disappointment on what was a brilliant day out. Fantastic game, fantastic result for Luton, obviously, and just a lovely old-fashioned ground.
Yeah. And then midweek you followed that with the game against Millwall.
Yeah, so obviously the famous Millwall.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest.
Obviously, from looking back from history where Luton and Millwall fans back in 1985 was a massive
I don't mean to be rude in the 80s, but it was Millwall v anyone, wasn't it?
Well, if I'm honest, if you read some of the accounts and books, I read one book, it wasn't just Millwall fans. Like, it was more of a consortium of teams from London who, for whatever reason, wanted to come up and have a bit of a... So, but anyway, I don't like the way that, I think in some ways, people talking about it feeds into that image, and actually I think if everyone stops acknowledging this Millwall thing, then hopefully it'll go away.
It's funny you say that because I've seen footages on Facebook and
I've seen it from the window of a kebab shop, but
there were minor things, but Beds Police have tweeted saying it was a enjoyable game to police on, and only one arrest, which is absolutely excellent.
I guess one of the things, they didn't make the greatest pub choice in terms of the fan zones, but the police escorts, and again, you do mention it, there was a really heavy police presence compared to normal.
Yeah, it was.
And you have to ask, obviously it's because of it's the Millwall name. If that hadn't been there, would there have been the problems? You'll never know, I guess, and no one's going to take that risk. But the police escorted them through the town centre. They were singing, they were rowdy, but there wasn't much to it. When we got to the ground outside the home end, there were one or two who were trying to kick off. I wouldn't say there was there wasn't any trouble beyond a normal game. I wouldn't.
So on the pitch, what was that game like? Was that any good or?
Luton dominated. The opposite.
Luton dominated compared to what they did on Saturday. Millwall, I think they're probably the worst team I've seen.
Well, Neil Harris subsequently sat down off the back.
They're the most direct.
I thought they had a game plan.
Yeah,
which I didn't like. It was a smash and grab goal. I thought we were on top for those 10 minutes in the second half when they scored. They should have gone 2-0 up from Matt Smith missing a sitter. Don't know how he missed it.
But Luton have struggled with that all season at home where teams have sat in a little bit. So unfortunately it's going to be a problem that happens for the year.
But credit where credit's due. Luton got a late equaliser from Callum McManaman. And I think previously, I don't think Luton would have done that early in the season. I think they would have just panicked a little bit and they might have conceded a second, third goal like they did against Hull. But they got back into the game, 1-1. I'd probably say Luton were on top of possession, but a point. It's a good point.
It's one of the things I'd say about Luton for most of the season, having seen nearly all the games, is that they're playing well, they're on top in a lot of games, but you can tell they don't really look like scoring a lot of the time. No. Creating clear-cut chances and having possession are two different things.
If they cut out the sloppy goal, because they still haven't kept a clean sheet this season, so if they cut out the sloppy goal, then you can see Luton.
Yeah, not you guys. It's just if you look. I don't know if you look enough places, you'll find these kind of answers. But if you look on maybe social media, there's a few Luton fans who can be a bit. Well, if you'd have said before the weekend, you get 4 points out of these two games, you'd have snapped there.
I've never expected Luton to beat Blackburn. They're all Ewood Park.
Either way, whether it's 4 points.
They're all Luton fans who weren't there in a Conference League 2 and League 1. They're the few that walked out against Hull at 2-0 because they've come along for the Championship and they wonder why we're not beating sides who've got triple the budget. You know.
No, I think so. I think it's worth remembering.
The Luton fans were behind the team and very appreciative.
11 points after 10 games. I'm happily take that right.
No, that's what I mean. So
anywhere above 21st or anywhere above 22nd even is an absolute delight.
Subsequently, that draw with Luton obviously was the end of Neil Harris. And
that surprised me, but to be fair, they were chanting Harris out during the game.
Which considering...
I didn't hear it.
From where I was sitting, I couldn't...
that's what I meant to ask, sorry, before you go any further. Have they resolved the advertising board?
Yes, all right.
Yes, they have.
Are you okay now?
They've sawed off the old blockage to the pitch.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They put a metal bar going across.
Sorry to interrupt. I meant to ask that question. So obviously Neil Harris has gone off the back of that, which I think
they were a lot of
good servant
fans.
for the club. Been there
4.5 years, longest serving manager in the Championship. Taken 2 promotions and 2 FA Cup quarterfinals or something like that.
The thing is, Millwall, as much as they like to give it the thing, they're never going to be a big club. And I mean that in the politest way possible.
For a West Ham fan, yes.
No, I'm not just saying that, but because they're always going to look at any decent player they've had, always eventually sold them.
And the problem is in London, they're dwarfed by clubs who, at that reputation now, aren't going to go down because of financial fair play.
Exactly. So
it's an unfortunate position to be in London. Really.
I do think whoever was in there, they were always going to flirt around with relegation. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, sorry, go on.
But he's done an excellent job.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Which I think is a bit of a shame, but yeah, go on.
I don't. Adam Barrett's in charge for this weekend. don't know who actually would take over. I can't think of anyone.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think it'll be a bit of a left field one, but I'm waiting to be proven wrong.
So I don't often get to listen to TalkSport because I think it's a crap radio station, but also normally I'm at work when it's on. But on Wednesday morning I had to drive somewhere to do with work, and I had talked to one. Ali McCoist was on there. Now I like Ali McCoist, and it just led me down a bit of a wormhole of. I remember that obviously he was in a film called A Shot to Glory. I don't know if you've heard of this.
No.
You've never heard this, right?
No.
Okay. So I haven't seen it. I want to watch it, but basically, Ali McCoist plays a Scottish footballer who actually played for Celtic, and when he was filming it, little fact for you, he had a Rangers shirt on underneath when he played for Celtic because he didn't want it to touch his skin, because obviously lifelong Rangers fan. Anyway, I digress. He was in a film with Robert Duvall, who's a famous American actor.
Sorry, can I just stop there? Why did he agree to go in a film where he had to wear a Celtic
This was
shirt?
the reason being, this was the year 2000. Yeah, Robert Duvall, Michael Keaton, you know, the one who used to play Batman.
Did they not have got Henrik Larsson?
Well, they needed a Scottish. So basically, cut a long story short, he plays the ex-husband of this manager's daughter, and then he's a manager of this fake Scottish club. I don't know the actual ending of the film, but basically he's an actor in it. So which I vaguely remember. Which then led me to think down this thing. I remember Ali McCoist releasing a song, and I don't know why I remember this, and it was Donald, Where's Your Trousers? You know the song, Donald, Where's Your Trousers? That one, okay? Yeah, I don't know. So no, wait, because this gets better. So then I remember him doing that. I don't know why this came in. I had this like flow of when I was in the car, okay? So I remember him doing this song, Donald, Where's Your Trousers? Because obviously I remember him mentioning it when he was on Question of Sport. He was a team captain there.
Yes, he was.
So it turns out that song was on an album. Now, I don't know anyone who's got this, and I'm desperately going to try. I've been searching internet so far, I haven't found it. A CD from the year 2002.
Is this your plea to try and get it?
This is my plea to get it. Now, the reason why, if you listen, was it was around the same time that the Premiership had gone to ITV.
Yeah.
So some of the staff, like the main people, presenters and all of that, released an album of songs that they'd covered of people from the who were working on the Premiership. So, as an example, on that album, Ali McCoist did Donald, Where's Your Trousers?
Yeah, you're saying Des Lynam.
No, not Des Lynam, but I've got better than that. So I'm going to name you a song.
He's going for Andy Townsend.
No. I'm going to name you
a
famous song, and I want you to tell me who sang it, okay?
I mean,
and these
which
are all
ITV
people. These are all
presenter?
people from football.
We are all going to get 0-0.
Yes.
Okay, right, you ready? Go for it. So
I'm
first
happy
one
to
was...
play to the corner.
I've got one answer for
That's
every single
Life
one.
by Frank Sinatra.
Robbie O.
No.
Terry Venables known him.
No, Ron Atkinson.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
The only person I know from the Premiership, other than the ones mentioned, is Robbie O. So he's every answer for me.
Okay, this one's brilliant. Angel Eyes.
Robbie O.
No.
John Beresford.
Frank Sinclair. Next
Why is
one.
Frank Sinclair singing that?
Honestly, okay, if someone's got this
Charlie
album...
was still playing for Leicester then at the start.
If someone's got this album, please send it.
Charlie will make a PO box.
I'll pay whatever you want. Okay, Something Stupid Like I Love You.
Oh,
that's going to
Robbie
be...
Savage known him.
No.
He will still be playing though.
No, but so was Frank Sinclair.
Who else was on it? I don't even
Okay, I'll
I
put
don't
it
know.
Ali McCoist and Gabby Logan.
She was on there.
I said Gary Logan as well.
Right, Babylon by David Gray.
Oh, that's got to be a Robbie O one.
No,
No?
Matt Jansen.
Matt Jansen was playing then as well.
Okay, right. Summertime, as in
from Will Smith.
Chuck Berry. In the summertime.
Oh right. If it's not Robbie,
Two
That's got
people.
to be an old person. Though.
No, 2 people. You're not.
Venables might be one of them.
No, Chris Kamara and Dion Dublin. Next one.
What's going on here?
What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong.
I'm not even guessing.
I've lost the plot.
Right, this one was Alan Mullery. You know,
Alan
No
Mullery.
way!
Where was he a pun?
Okay.
Alright, I want the CD now. I want to hear that.
Now go on the theme of earlier.
Is this on
Come
YouTube?
Fly With Me. No, that's the thing. It's not on YouTube. I'm desperately trying to find it. Come Fly With Me by Frank Sinatra.
That's got to be Terry.
Oh, who was the one earlier? I can't remember who it was.
Ron Atkinson again.
Ron, stop singing.
Right. So now it's just a repeat of the rest of the people you've already heard. Okay. So the next one, Walking in Memphis.
I was walking in Memphis.
So out of the names you've
Dion
already
Dublin.
heard, no, Matt Jansen. Right.
This is
A few of my favourite things. You know, these.
Gabby Logan.
No.
Frank Sinclair.
No. Dion Dublin. Right.
Oh,
Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison.
you and I, brown. Do you remember?
No, I'm going Frank Sinclair again.
No, Chris Kamara.
Sha-la-la-la.
The next one, Pennies from Heaven.
What is that song?
I can't remember. I know the song
To
roughly.
be fair, mate, if you get any closer to in tune, we'll be in copyright territory.
We must not have a good
What
singer
was the
then.
song this time, sorry?
Pennies from Heaven.
Gabby.
I would have gone Gabby.
No, Frank Sinclair.
It's the only one I didn't go for.
So the next one was Donald Where's Your Trousers? Who was?
Alan McCoy.
Okay, and the last one, Song for Guy.
What?
I don't know. I don't actually know the song.
Let's go Alan Mallory.
To finish the album of all albums, Matt Jansen.
He's got 3 on there. He must have the voice of an angel.
What is going?
Please, and I mean this, even if you just let us borrow it, we'll rip the music from, which is illegal, but we'll still do it anyway, and we'll post it back to you or whatever it is. If someone has this album out there somewhere, it was released in the year 2002. On the front cover is no less than all of the people we've just seen. Okay, so if you have that album, please send it in. I will pay whatever you want. I just want to listen to Ron Atkinson sing "Come Fly With Me" or something like that.
What has gone on here is... I'm going to start talking about Bury. Obviously, they're not in the Football League at the moment, and they appealed to the EFL. So all 71 football clubs did a vote whether Bury can start...
League 2.
Where Bury can start the 2020-2021 season in League 2. And the majority have said, no, you're not going to be in League 2. Now, I actually don't have a problem with them not starting in League 2 next year. Because obviously the EFL obviously kicked them out for a reason. It's funny enough that the teams in League 2 are normally near the bottom of the League 2 all said no.
Right.
So as it stands, obviously the one team will get relegated this season from League 2.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Logistically,
it's all political, isn't it?
Logistically, it probably would have been easier if they had reinstated them, wouldn't they? In terms of relegations, promotions, and all of that, because obviously the domino effect of them not being.
The only thing that will cause that, as we've mentioned probably before, is if they don't then get instated into the National League, which obviously they can apply freely for because there's nothing to do with the EFL.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the EFL could just bring one more team up from the National League and put Bury in. So
I mean, I suppose
they're not going to do that.
I don't know.
It's just one team that gets relegated instead of the 2. So Bury is effectively.
Then the National League has an extra vacancy which Bury could fill, or then every league below will get affected until Bury come in.
Yeah. So it's at the moment. I think the bottom is Stevenage. I think, which I should have predicted last season. It's that kit. It's horrendous.
They got a win though, didn't they? Last week?
I think they did. Yeah.
No, did they win?
Oh no, they drew in the last minute. Sorry.
Yeah, they drew. It's a shame. But only one team gets relegated now, so. It makes it easier for the League 2 teams. We can. But the same thing. I think it's pretty much the same like with Grimsby 10 years ago when Luton got the 30-point deduction. So it made that easier. So Grimsby would have got relegated if Luton did have a 30-point deduction.
Only devil's advocate position is if I was one of those clubs, Bury, if they come back in, aren't going to be roaring up the league or anything like that. I would imagine because it's not. Would it have made sense if you were one of those lower clubs to have said, actually, yes, you can come in and almost treated them as a free hit?
But you're forgetting that because you're saying next year it'll be easier with Bury there. But they're saying this year, if we say that to Bury, then that means this year 2 teams get relegated again.
They're just saying, sorry.
It's basically
one less team gets relegated. Why wouldn't we say it?
No,
it's basically just saying that Bury just got relegated from League 1. That's
right.
That's all.
Got you. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I think
it makes sense from a League 2 team perspective because we say, well, we're safe here.
But the problem is they shouldn't be the people voting on that.
Well,
because it's going to be a political answer.
But is there a point with Championship teams voting for it?
I don't get it.
I suppose in some ways, what I find frustrating is some things. Some things in the Championship they
kicked them out for a reason, so the vote's already done then.
But some things in the EFL are democratic, and some things and it's almost like it's a picking and choosing of it. What I mean is that if you're going to take this approach that you're going to involve every club on that decision, then in theory you have to do it for every decision, which clearly they don't. And you can say that just in even who they choose to run the EFL. That wasn't a democratic vote in terms of involving all the clubs.
Rich Parrish isn't the new chief executive for EFL now?
Well, I'm sure he'll be getting
Liverpool.
I don't know. Would he be getting a pay rise the same as the rest of them have?
I hope not.
In teams going bust, but yeah.
Speaking of the EFL, another EFL calamity is Liverpool. They've been fined £200,000, which £100,000 will be suspended until the end of the 2021 season.
I mean, that's a point.
For having breached the rules of the Carabao Cup by fielding an ineligible player against Milton Keynes Dons in the Carabao Cup.
Can I make one statement on this?
Yeah.
Charlie just said a moment ago, if one thing's going to go to 71 clubs, everything should. So why isn't that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair comment.
Well,
why didn't the clubs vote whether they should stay in or not?
Because if I would vote Liverpool out of the Carabao Cup.
The only thing is because Premier League teams are in it.
No, but what I mean is,
I agree.
I see
It's
what
the EFL Cup.
Well, if it's an EFL Cup, let's not have Premier League teams in it.
No, but what I'm saying is what Dan's saying. I agree with. Is if they've got if the 71, is it 71?
71 left now. Yeah.
71 clubs have got the power to vote out a team, i.e. Bury, then surely they should have the same power to vote out a team if they break a rule, or not vote out, but cast a decision on a team.
And in that one, they can be more impartial because they've got to think, what if this happens to us next year?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I think that what pisses me off is some of it is a suspended sentence. I mean, all of this sort of, if you're going to fine a club, either fine them or don't fine them. At the end of the day, especially a club like Liverpool. I'm not saying they should pay more because they're a big club, but just fine them or not. More importantly, what was the actual ineligible bit about? Was it that it was a youngster?
So I'm going to
play if he cup tied or what?
I'll read the thing. The circumstances leading to this breach are that Liverpool have not received international clearance for the existing contracted registered player Pedro Burgos.
Chiravallo.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Burgos, on the expiry of his loan agreement last season with Spanish club Extremadura, the Union Deportiva.
Without going into too much history, this pisses me off because West Ham got to the semi-finals of the League Cup back in the 90s, and we famously beat Villa with a Emmanuel Omonimni coming off the bench. He played for but he didn't tell the West Ham that he played for Notts County in like the first round, months and months before. So I appreciate there's nothing. It's not that I'm saying they shouldn't have been booted out, but West Ham booted out. Villa went through because obviously they played a cup-tied player. So if you played an ineligible player, I know this was 20 odd years ago, but how can you have like the thing of one man, one team being booted out, and yet another one only gets a paltry fine, if I'm honest, in the grand scheme of
the thing is, this happened to Sunderland a few years ago. I think it was Ji Dong-won actually.
Yeah.
He was apparently an eligible player, and Sunderland, all Sunderland got was a fine. Now, I don't care if it was Liverpool because he's a Premier League team, Sunderland because of Premier League then, or Grays Athletic that got kicked out of the FA Cup for the exact same reason.
Yeah.
You can't have.
Well, the bollocks thing about it is, I tell you what, because this annoys me now, because we talk about elitism. If we'd have done that on a Saturday or Sunday morning, or Saturday afternoon,
The
or Sunday
result
morning,
gets reversed.
yeah, it would have been out straight away. We'd have been out like that. So I don't understand why.
How can someone be an eligible player and still progress to the next round?
But if you did that in grassroots football,
but the thing is, grassroots football, you still get fined and you get kicked out of the cup. Now, Premier League, you get a fine and that's it.
I don't have a problem with Liverpool not getting kicked out of the Carabao Cup, okay?
Why?
On paper. I don't have a problem with it, but only on one condition. Next year, if the club at the bottom of League 2 does it, they cannot be kicked out.
No.
It has set a precedent so dangerous for the EFL.
Because
if they Liverpool probably reputation and style at the moment, possibly the biggest side in England alongside City. Probably they're the two standouts. So if one of the let's call them Charlie's words, dog shit League 2 clubs next season does it and they kick them out, that's going to be absolute disaster for them.
No, I agree. No, and that's the thing. I think you've we just spoke about the EFL, the contradictory elements.
They've thrown themselves under the bus.
Yeah, they just don't help themselves. The thing is, if they'd have set a state, I'm not. It's not saying this because I'm not a massive fan of Liverpool. What I'm saying is that in some ways it would have set a precedence for people not to do that kind of thing again. I mean, it's piss poor that a club that size has somehow managed to.
I was just saying, that someone's does a full-time job doing administration work,
and they get a fine, and yet at
our
level,
part-time volunteers
working. Full-time doing their jobs, make a mistake, and you're booted out, and that's for me.
That's criminal.
That's the biggest.
Grays Athletic, a non-league club, lost out thousands of pounds.
I guess, unfortunately, as we've seen, and I don't want to cause any controversy in here.
The controversy sells.
Is that the
controversy creates cash?
Often the side at non-league level who have been wronged put up a bit more of a fuss, don't they?
Well, yeah, no, that is true. But I know
there's not much money in there.
I don't think MK Dons were devastated to be at the Carabao Cup.
No, because they made thousands of
payday.
pounds. Exactly. Yeah. But from Arsenal, they're probably gutted that Liverpool still
yeah,
Cup.
Absolutely.
Without going around in circles, I think the theme of the first half of this episode is that
clueless.
Well, just inconsistent. I think that's the one word, politest word, I could use, is that incredibly inconsistent.
And whether it be refereeing, boardroom decisions, or folks behind the scenes in FAs, the one word football fans hate the most, we say it to referees all the time, inconsistency.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so it's now time for Tales of the Unexpected, or whatever this feature is called, which for some people in
You've got to nail it now, we're on new platforms.
No, well, for the people who are actually in the room with me, it's their opportunity to get a quick nap or watch the Real Betis Eibar game. For those of you who are listening, though, I'm going to take you back to London, November 1945, okay? Now, Dan, you didn't make it over then, so... Well, only just, and that's what this story is based around. So, London, November 1945, as you predicted earlier, Dan, a World War II based story. So off the back of the war, without going into too much politics, Britain and Russia were probably a bit more friendly than what they are now. So as part of a public relations stunt, they organised a friendly between Arsenal and Dynamo Moscow. Okay. Oh. So, I say Arsenal. It was Arsenal with a few special guests. So they tried to get a few of the England nationals. So Stanley Matthews, and Stan Mortensen, both of Blackpool. Blackpool legends. So they ended up playing for Arsenal. Amusingly, the game was actually played at White Hart Lane because Arsenal's ground was still... I didn't realise this. Highbury during the war was used for storage and things like that to do with the war effort and all of that. Yeah. So that hadn't been sort of redecorated or whatever the thing is. And so it was refixed basically. So it was played at White Hart Lane. So... as a publicity thing, they got loads of people in. You know, they got a Russian referee just to make it a bit easier for the Russian players who were playing for Dynamo Moscow. All of this. The problem was when it comes to kickoff time, it was an incredibly dense fog. So the 40s, I didn't realise this, but there was quite a period during the 40s where most winters were full of fog. I don't know if this was to do with factories and air pollution and all that, but in general. I know this sounds quite boring, but it does go somewhere interesting soon. There was
we've enjoyed my Michael Fish.
Tremendous. There will not be a hurricane. No, there was a tremendous amount of fog. So anyway, just before kickoff, visibility apparently, according to the players, was around 2 feet. Okay, so you couldn't see much further than that. Yeah. So, which is obviously pretty much your hand in front of your face.
Forces you to play short, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing. So obviously, I didn't realise it's going into a bit of science now. Fog not only disturbs vision, it also distorts sound. So I didn't realise that. Obviously, you know, sound waves and all of this. So the game kicks off. Arsenal race into a 3-1 lead. PR-wise, this isn't great. So Dynamo Moscow don't like that. Now, again, the key to this is it's incredibly foggy. With that in mind, Dynamo Moscow, without anyone knowing, because of the dense fog, sneaked a couple of players onto the pitch. So we've then got 13 against 11 at one point. I like that. Okay. Because they pretended they were making a substitution, but no one could tell that anyone was coming. Fans couldn't see a thing. It was that cloudy. Okay? Which then led me to another story really quickly, as we go off on a different tangent. There was a game in the 40s as well. Charlton were playing, and the game got abandoned by the referee because of the dense fog. But as they were coming off, the players come off, got showered, got into the bath and that, and then realised that their goalkeeper wasn't in the bath with them. You know, you used to have the big communal baths.
Yes.
So they went outside and found him still in the 18-yard box, doing his little limbering, bouncing around, etc.
Just thinking the ball's at the other
end. The ball's at the other end of the pitch, and he'd been in goal for like...
Well, they haven't come up to them for a while.
But he thought his team was just on top, and he couldn't see the other end of the pitch.
We're playing really well today.
Yeah. So his name was Stan Bartram, that was the goalkeeper, and anyway, he ended up staying in there.
Left by then.
Well, he was hopping, staying... that's the thing, the fog disturbs the sound, all of that. Anyway, that's supposedly the story. But back to Dynamo Moscow. So they then actually went to 15 players, Dynamo Moscow, without the referee realising. That I will say, Dynamo Moscow were not in the only guilty party in this. So then Arsenal had a player sent off for a bad challenge, and he just came back on because the referee couldn't tell that he'd gone off. There was players apparently making fouls and then just running off into the dense fog, so the referee couldn't or anything like that.
This sounds like a proper Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Humorously, this is one of the best bits for me. At half time, the linesman came out of to obviously come on for the second half. Didn't realise they both ended up on the same side of the pitch because they couldn't see the other linesman. So he had two linesmen for 10 minutes running the same side of the pitch until eventually they bumped into each other.
Surely he would know.
Well, you wouldn't know, would you? If it's that foggy.
He would know, right?
Surely a starting position.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's the thing. If you go over, think about it with the fog. You can't see anything. You can't see the other lines.
You don't know where your starting position is.
You don't know where your starting position is, do you? You can barely see the lines. So they're gambling all of it.
No, that doesn't work like that.
What do you mean? No, you talk about the 40s, Craig. It's not Premier League football. You can just walk out and just go, right, I'm going to go this far. But think about it, it's so foggy. You've lost your bearings, you don't know where you're coming out, you lose your reference point when you come out of the tunnel.
No, I know he's an idiot.
Don't forget, we're talking about language barriers as well. They said they got a Russian referee.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet the linesman was still English.
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Just wanted to quickly share this with you. I didn't realise that it was only up until the 60s that there was two types of referee. You know the way they coach referees? So in Britain, the referees run diagonal, don't they? You know, as in you've got the linos on either side, and then the pattern they sort of run is a diagonal.
Yeah,
well, in Europe up until the 60s, they used to run in a straight line.
Correct.
So therefore, I suppose if you're a lino in Europe, they might have kept them on the same side. They might have swapped them. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's where the barrier comes in. I don't know. But anyway, they both ended up on the same side. That's the important bit. At one point, a fan ran onto the pitch and jumped in the goal with the Arsenal goalkeeper. No one realised he was on the pitch for a few minutes. Obviously, there was no shots or anything, but he ended up in goal with the Arsenal goalkeeper, talking to whoever he was and all of this. No one realised because obviously they couldn't see anything. As I say, fouls were committed, people disappeared into the fog, etc. And Dynamo actually ended up winning the game 4-3. Okay, by that point, no one cared. You know, the whole thing had just descended into an absolute
I can imagine that would have been a great laugh to be at.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So fans could have
waste of money as well.
Well, waste of money, yeah. But basically, Stanley Matthews apparently was kicked lumps out of, but no one could tell because he was obviously he couldn't see anything. Referee and should have abandoned it, but for public relations reasons, that wouldn't have gone down well with the post-war sort of thing. Which led me on to one more story from World War II to do with fog. There was an Edinburgh derby in 1944 between Hearts and Hibs, and what happened was the game should have been abandoned because it was nearly as bad as this Arsenal game I just described to you. But the British intelligence services were worried that the Luftwaffe were listening to lots of different mediums to see what the weather forecast was like. Because obviously going back to the 40s, you know, in terms of radar and stuff like that. So they thought they might have been listening to the Hearts-Hibs game on the radio. So they described the game as a really sunny day and it was clear skies, thus putting off the German Air Force from flying over because obviously they'd be spotted a lot earlier and all of that. When actually it was incredibly dense fog and no one could see anything, and then the game was a farce in the end of it. But they did it just so to try and confuse the Luftwaffe, to put off the Germans basically, so that they wouldn't obviously go bombing. What I would say is, if you don't believe me, you can watch highlights of the Dynamo Moscow, and I say watch very loosely. It's a very short film of Dynamo Moscow versus Arsenal, which finished 4-3, and it is on YouTube. So if you want to take a look, you're more than welcome to verify everything that I've just said.
And while you're there, go and catch up with all our podcasts.
Well, yes,
exactly.
Yeah, good point.
Nice plug.
But yeah,
nice plug.
So that was a World War II story, what was now titled The Farce in the Fog. So, any other business? Dan, did you want to kick us off?
I will do, and I wanted to talk about some strange stats from the weekend.
Right, go for
like
it.
I think I've got 3 listed here, so we'll go through them, and I'll see some of you may have seen them already. The first one was a National League game.
Oh.
It involved Bromley, the league leaders,
right,
who of course lost their invincible record last weekend, losing 3-1 at Yeovil.
Hey, Darren Salt, manager of the month for September.
Done a good job, and they're flying up the league now, so well done to them.
Didn't you tip them to go struggle this season?
No, that was Notts County. I actually had Yeovil to win the FA trophy.
You did, yeah.
But do you know what the most bizarre part of that game was?
Oh, it was the ball boys. All the ball boys got sent off.
Was it the ball boys getting sent off?
Yes.
8 send-ins off, and they were all ball boys.
What was that?
Basically, one ball boy. So I'm taking this story now. One ball boy was delaying to give him the ball, give him the ball back to Bromley.
So in the 80th minute, there was a delay because of that. He didn't give the ball back. He was basically playing the old.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah,
he was like pretending to give it to him. Yeah.
He got a warning from the referee, and then 4 minutes later, he did it again, the same one. But instead of the referee just getting rid of him, he made the announcer round up the 8 of them and get them off, and sent them all off. And then there's a brilliant clip.
So he sent them all off because of the one?
Because of the one.
Oh, group punishment, love that. Yeah, there you go.
Obviously, Yeovil then got a third, so it didn't matter, but brilliant clip in the 90th minute of the referee going to chase the ball because he sent the ball boys off, which was fantastic. So a really nice moment of the weekend. And then I wanted to head over to the EFL.
Again?
Where Yeovil were last season. And there was a...
Lovely segue, by the way.
Thank you. There was a seamless, you might say. There was another little record this week. And it was on the bench for Gillingham.
Go on.
No one know this one?
Is this to do with the goalkeeper?
It is to do with the
goalkeeper. It's Simon Royce.
Simon Royce.
He's 48.
At the age of 48 was on the bench due to an injury for Gillingham. Right. His last professional appearance, obviously didn't get on in the end unfortunately, his last professional appearance was in February 2011 for Brentford in a 4-1 defeat against Dagenham and Redbridge. So it could have been a monumental moment.
Oh, that'd be
incredible. Would have been John Still's Dagenham and Redbridge as well.
So how did he end up on the bench? Just
injuries
or...
Yeah. I think they had 2 goalkeepers unavailable, so he then came in.
I mean, that's an interesting question. Like, do you get to the stage where you either bring in the under 16 or under 17 goalkeeper or the 48-year-old coach?
The thing you forget with a late injury like that is the under 18s normally play at 11 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah, true. Yeah.
So they won't be able to play. They're not eligible for 2 games on the same day. So that's the reason. So he will have gone onto the bench, and all it needs is one little injury of sending off, and they could be record breakers.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, I want to take you over to Germany.
Can I just say really quickly, if you were winning and you had 1 substitution left, and say you were 4-1 up,
chuck him up front.
Would you put him on just so you could break that record?
Yeah.
Like for 4 minutes at the end of the
Absolutely.
Do you fancy it, mate?
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, go on.
Be fantastic.
Sound like Eddie Hearn now. Yeah, go on then.
Go on, yeah.
Let's
So
celebrate
back to
that.
Germany.
Over to Germany, and there was a record this week, an astonishing record.
Yes,
Right.
I know this one.
I
Yes.
don't know this one.
I've seen all your notes. I haven't looked at your notes, but I know all your notes.
Go on.
For the first time.
For the first time in the history of the Bundesliga, no home side won in a full match day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I love those
So
niche ones.
it was largely aided by fixtures, with a lot of the big sides being away from home. But obviously the two ones of note, RB Leipzig lost at home Schalke 3-1, and then the home banker of the weekend was Borussia Dortmund, but they were held 2-2 by Werder Bremen.
Wow.
So for the first time in the Bundesliga, and it's a long history, about 29 years or something like that, maybe even longer, maybe 30 now.
So what is that in the pools? Is it all number
Oh yeah,
three?
because obviously East Germany.
Yeah, where it was redone. So I think it was 29 years for the first time.
yeah.
The pools were in buckets.
No, that's what I mean. Because obviously the pools is like the different
Home
numbers in it. What number one?
Never understood
No,
that.
I never
Does
understood.
anyone, if anyone could actually tell us, because I've tried to even read.
I just
don't get it.
remember,
I don't-
you know, on was it BBC Five Live Sports?
Yeah, that's
Report?
it, it's always on the
and they always
side,
used to
isn't
do like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it goes.
So I think one was home win, wasn't it?
Yeah,
two was a
away win, and something was.
Three
Then
was
there was a score draw
and
and
then
no
no
score
score draw.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of them was just a dash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was no.
Yeah, what was that about as well? If someone could explain
no,
that
because it's
and
not,
send
it's
in
not
that
part,
CD.
because it wasn't part of the 49, wasn't it? It's always 49 fixtures, and then they have
Right.
obviously the ones that don't.
So we've-
but I love it on the radio. It goes, and Dagenham Redbridge versus Bromley was postponed. Have we given it a home win?
What? Can I just say, one thing that I miss about football is I used to always get the paper on a Saturday morning, you know, on the
Yes.
to look at the football
Pulse check.
team. The pulse check, and spot the ball. Where's that gone?
Ah!
Disappeared.
Oh, yes.
Where's spot the ball gone?
I used too much gambling and spot the ball.
No, but you'd have to go. But no, obviously didn't send it in. But like, I missed that game. Like D4. You know,
I
that-
think-
Do you know
think
what's
what you need
replaced
to
it?
buy-
Sudoku's replaced it, mate.
Wow.
What Charlie needs to get his hands on is a Spot the Difference crossword book. There's a few
He's
spot the
looking for
balls in
Shoot
there.
magazine or something like that.
I used to get them every year.
But yeah,
Anyway, go on.
a very interesting weekend from
No.
the Bundesliga, and obviously quite a unique bit of history for the first time in 29 years.
Would you like another quiz very quickly?
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't? Okay.
No, I do.
Well,
One
One of
Yeah,
the two
yeah.
you can't lose.
No,
actually.
no, exactly.
Well, after the first quiz, I'm hoping more
Well,
successful.
it combines two things that I have found quite funny over the last few weeks.
And
Firstly,
neither of them are football games.
I bet it's chicken.
no, nothing to do with chickens. Firstly is a quiz, and secondly is a quote by enigmatic footballers. So yesterday was Zlatan Ibrahimovic's birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday.
So I've got 10 quotes for
Come
you.
back to Man United, please.
I've got 10 quotes for you. Just Zlatan or not Zlatan, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to read them out. You can tell me if Zlatan said it or if he didn't say
He's
it.
definitely nicked this off a website.
Yeah.
I have,
Yes.
yeah. Right, okay.
Like,
First one.
where I found yours notes from.
When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, he had 3 missed calls from Zlatan. Is that Zlatan or not Zlatan?
I'm going no Zlatan.
I'm saying Zlatan.
It is, in fact, fake. It was no Zlatan. He did not say
1-0.
that. No. Right, the next one. So, Zlatan doesn't make left turns because everything he does is right.
Oh, that's Zlatan.
Yeah, he said
You think
that.
that's Zlatan?
Yeah.
No, incorrect. It was
Oh.
not Zlatan. It was an un-Zlatan quote. Zlatan doesn't do auditions. Quite a famous one.
Zlatan.
Yeah, and do you know who he said it to? Arsene Wenger when he was at Arsenal.
Oh, yes,
he was
I
on
remember.
trial
I remember.
at Arsenal. Right, next one. Zlatan's keyboard doesn't have a delete button because Zlatan does not make mistakes.
Zlatan.
No.
No, are you going no Zlatan? It is no Zlatan.
Yeah.
1-1.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. What John Carew does with a football, I can do with an orange.
Well, we know what
we'll
I like.
notice that later on in PES 2.
So, what John Carew does with a football, I can do with an orange.
Zlatan. Definitely Zlatan. It better be Zlatan. It better
Well, Norway, Sweden, a bit of a derby. I would say he didn't say that.
He did say that, correct.
be. Come on.
Zlatan was when apparently John Carew had criticised him over social media, and obviously that was his response.
And on every Pro Evolution Soccer, he is useless.
You just can't handle him well.
Right, Zlatan's voice never has an echo. Nothing talks back to Zlatan.
Yeah, he
Zlatan.
said that, yeah.
Zlatan.
I can see him saying that.
No, not Zlatan, unfortunately. It's quite interesting that you could think that he could say some of this stuff. So, the next one. First I went left, he did too. Then I went right, he did too. Then I went left again, and he went to buy a hot dog.
Zlatan.
No.
It can't. Yeah, who would make that one up?
Why would Zlatan say hot dog?
Who would make that one
Why
up?
was
It
Zlatan-
was correct. Zlatan did say that. It was a Zlatan quote. Do you know who he was talking about?
Got to be a lot of.
Phil Jones.
It's got to be a fullback in the MLS or something.
No. Stefan Henshaw, Liverpool legend. The old Liverpool
Legends pushing.
Yeah,
Right.
you're pushing legend.
2 more to go.
You can still draw.
Zlatan doesn't score lucky goals. Goals are lucky to have been scored by
He
Zlatan.
said
Zlatan.
that.
You think he said that?
Yeah.
No, not Zlatan, unfortunately.
Oh,
Right.
I did well.
Next one.
I'm saving my correct answers for Daniel Cody's quiz.
Are you saving that? You don't want to use
you
your
name
answer?
them?
It's fast either if you get them.
I can't help but laugh at how perfect I am.
Zlatan.
No.
Zlatan did say that, yes.
4-1 to finish.
Right, okay, I've got one more actually. Sorry, it's a bonus
okay,
one.
not to finish.
Okay, no, sorry, 1 second. Bear with me.
Yes, it counts for 4 points.
Zlatan once called the linesman offside.
No Zlatan.
No, I don't think he said that.
That's correct, he did not say that. Right, last one. This is the last one.
This is the last one, so you're just waiting for me to catch up.
No, when Zlatan makes a grammatical mistake, the dictionary is updated.
No Zlatan.
I probably think he would say that.
It was no Zlatan. Sorry,
what
this
a shame.
is the last one. This is my favourite. No, this is my
You said
favourite.
it's 4 times.
The 30 time.
Right. Asked what he would buy his wife for his birthday, Zlatan replied, nothing, she already has Zlatan.
Zlatan.
Yes.
That is correct, and yes, what a lucky woman she is. Okay, so no, that is the Zlatan or not Zlatan quiz. Any other things or... Right, okay, I want to finish on a story now. There is a video you can watch about this, but I'll explain the story first. And I found it quite an emotional story. So we're going to Zimbabwe. Don't look at me like that, Craig. I know what you're thinking. It's not another African Chronicle story.
No.
But basically, there's a man called Kepa. Let me say this right.
Balaga.
No, not Kepa Abizaraga. Kepa Mapiria, okay? Zimbabwe. So basically, he was born without a left foot.
Okay.
Massive football fanatic, etc. His parents were, very supportive of him going to a regular school, etc. Unfortunately, due to I don't want to go too much into this, but people's religious persuasions and the way they view maybe disabilities in culture and stuff, he was sort of a bit of an outcast in where he was from in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So he ended up being homeless. But through pure grit and determination, and there is a video if you want to go on the internet and watch it, he's actually been selected for Zimbabwe's able-bodied homeless football team. But he's still only got a left foot, so he plays with one boot and a stump. But if you watch the video of him, incredible, but such an inspiration. And actually he's taken on like a player sort of leadership role, so he wants to go into coaching. But it was more the fact that he was outcast and ended up homeless, living off of scraps, this, that and the other. He's managed to, through no fault of his own, end up in a horrendous situation. And without going into too much sort of negativity, watch the sort of thing if you can. To then come from that to then not just playing football, because I think that'd be an amazing feat for anyone to go and play football coming from that background. I don't know when the next Homeless World Cup is, 'cause they sort of come round quite frequently, don't they? But to then go and represent your country anyway would be fantastic. But to do it with one foot, and he plays, so he'd be playing with us lads like us, in that sense, with only one foot. Incredible. I mean, his touch is unbelievable. Honestly, he looks like a decent footballer. And only got one foot, which I just thought was a fascinating story. If you watch the way he tells it, and just like some of the things he's been through, and then to come out the other side of it and be where he is now, it's fascinating. And it genuinely nearly had me in tears. So I'm not going to do the story an injustice of trying to tell it as well as he did. If you do get a chance, just put in Kepa. I'm not even going to say the name again, but yeah, Zimbabwe.
It'll be on the screen. It'll be on the screen if you're on YouTube. It'll be on the screen. Actually, the link will be on YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, incredible story, and if you can watch that, because it'll restore your faith in football. I know we've been talking earlier in this episode about inconsistencies in the EFL and all of these some negative things. It's things like this that I know we go on about and we bang that drum about football being for everyone, but this truly is how amazing a vehicle football can be for people's lives and how it can change lives basically. So football is for everyone.
Okay, we end with our quiz, and Charlie's still looking to get off the mark.
Hold on a minute.
Hang on, I'll introduce it, Craig. As it's the first time on a new platform, you're going to have to be twice as loud today. What is the quiz called, lads?
Oh, come on!
You wish your chance to shine.
Me.
You wish your chance to shine.
Maybe look at Mug on Spotify now.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you one more chance. What is the quiz called?
Can you name them?
And I still don't know why they do that in the 7th week of the season.
Right, okay.
It is 6-0 to Craig, so for those of you who are new, it doesn't have much competition.
Basically, I'm the Man City to Charlie's Watford.
The comeback of Lazarus proportions is going to happen, right?
So next week, and I highly doubt it today based on that, Charlie.
He might get a chance. He might look. It's very foggy, and he might look at the answers.
I doubt it because my pen and paper writing is not too good.
The fast and the
But
fog,
each
right.
week I ask a certain question, normally quite a difficult, challenging, or
It was very
interesting
difficult
one.
For me, yeah, not for him.
Yeah, last week was very difficult.
And I just asked a simple question: can you name them?
Absolutely not.
Obviously, we normally stick towards the top of the football pyramid because, particularly where they're going back over 10 or 15 years, we want to make it a bit easier for you guys.
Yeah.
But this season, or today, sorry, we're focusing on the most recent season of the Premier League.
Oh, that's all right.
Which is the 2018-19 season.
It's inside out, right?
And the reason I'm asking you a question on this is because it only has 7 answers.
Oh, God.
So, there were 7 players who scored a hat-trick
Oh.
in the Premier League last season. And my question is...
Wait, have you already had this question?
No.
Oh, okay.
My question is...
Can I name?
Can you name them? I think it's Craig's going to go first.
Oh God.
I know what you're thinking of. It was when he was like Man City scorers or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Last season.
2018-19. I will go with Sergio Aguero.
Craig Savage, you are right. Sergio Aguero with a hat-trick in a Manchester City 6-0 win against Chelsea.
Yeah, I remember that. He scored well.
Oh,
he missed a
dear.
sit at the start, but he scored an absolute worldie.
I could be in trouble already. I think he might have got 3. Raheem Sterling.
I'm afraid that was the first day of this season, Charlie.
Oh.
A little bit too modern.
I'm glad I was about to say Raheem Sterling, sorry.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So, Craig, it's back to you with a chance to win already.
Oh God. I want to go outside the box. I don't want to pick the obvious players. I'm going to have to pick obviously the one that obviously didn't do well.
Well, I would go for one that's right, ideally. Rather than one that's in or outside the box.
Surprised he didn't get on last year.
It weren't Man United because they were rubbish. Arsenal probably not.
We know you know the answer, just say it.
I don't want to know who it isn't, Craig. I'm going to have to press
I know he knows the answer, he's just toying. He's
I
toying.
don't know.
Solano! No, go on, who is it?
If it's not Luis Solano, come in.
Just go for an answer, Craig. You're 8-0 up nearly.
Firmino.
Roberto Firmino did get a hat-trick in Liverpool's 5-1 win against Arsenal.
Yeah.
He knew that 5 minutes ago.
He
for
did know
fuck's
that.
sake.
I did. I can
He was
remember.
like
I was going to say Mane or.
No, I would have had another guess. I wouldn't have got that. I'd have had another guess at maybe Harry Kane or.
Yeah, I was going to say Kane and.
No, see there. You go.
So congratulations to Craig who leads 7-0. I'll just name you the other ones quickly. Lucas Moura for Spurs in a 4-0 win against Huddersfield towards the end of the season.
Wow.
Remember he brought the kid on the pitch at the end.
Yes.
Gerard Deulofeu in a 5-1 win for Watford away at
No.
Cardiff.
Never would have got that.
Yeah,
Never would have got that.
Sergio Aguero, which we mentioned. Last day, or penultimate weekend of the season, sorry. Jose Perez with a hat-trick for Newcastle against Southampton in a 3-1
Right?
Oh,
No, would have got that.
Never got
Diogo Jota.
Really?
For Wolves 4-3 against Leicester.
That was a cracking game. Yeah.
Roberto Firmino, as you mentioned, and another Liverpool player, and another Egyptian, as you joked before
Mo
we came
Salah.
on the list. Mo Salah in a 4-0 win against
I would have maybe guessed it here.
Against
but-
Wolves.
but Bournemouth, sorry.
Oh, Bournemouth.
At Bournemouth.
If I'd have gone for Salah, which was in the back of my head, but I probably would have got there. The other fucking 5, not a hope. So.
Well, that's why I did it, because it was a mix of familiar names, and I thought you would just go for Salah, a bit like you did on the...
Yeah, but after that I'd have been shafted anyway. So it was... but yeah, no, fair play to you, Craig. It's...
7-0.
Yeah, I think anything Premier League I struggle, because this is not a Premier League podcast! No, go on.
Okay, based on that, I will do an exclusive championship quiz next week for Charlie Betts.
It
And
should
see
be
just how much-
shorter.
No.
You got the first answer wrong at getting the Premier League quiz. How are you going to do well in the Championship?
No, I don't watch much Premier League football now.
You don't watch much Championship either.
Well, I'd have a better guess at that, I reckon.
Can you please stop bickering on our new platform?
And that is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at HonestFootball3. And don't forget to follow us on our new platforms. And we'll see you next time.